All right, what's going on, everyone? Indy here with Ultimate Tour Reviews. Today we're showing you guys how to service your generator and, of course, how to prep it for storage. Kind of goes hand in hand. You definitely want to service your generator before you get it ready for storage. And it's kind of part of the storage process anyways. So here's the tools you're going to need. You might need a couple more too, depending on your generator. But you're going to need, of course, a spark plug socket. It's going to be one of the sockets that's going to have one of those little gaskets in there, little rubber things, and that allows you to really grip onto that spark plug, as well as possibly an extension, probably a ratchet. For mine, I'm going to definitely need a screwdriver or impact driver to get off some of these screws on here. A couple of funnels, of course, because we're going to be adding in some new oil. We're going to change the oil. And then we're going to also use a Pittsburgh multi-use transfer pump. I'll link one to Amazon, too, if you don't have a Harbor Freight near you. These are actually pretty cheap. And then, of course, we're going to need an empty jug of some sorts to put the old oil in. So, guys, let's jump into it. And first thing we're going to do is drain all the gas out of here. All right, and these quick transfer pumps make this super easy to do. Of course, this is super easy here. We're going to use the in, which is going to go into our fuel tank here. And you might just have to pop out that filter in there, which you can do by hand, or you can grab a little pliers, and that comes out really no big deal. So you just put that on in there. Put that as far as it goes in there. This is a 1.9 gallon tank in this generator here. I'm going to put the out back into my fuel tank here. So let's pump out all of the gas that's in here. Wow, this thing is actually really quick and efficient here. I almost got to not pump it too fast because I'm putting too much fuel in there a little too quick. I don't want to splash that or spill any gasoline anywhere. All right, and of course, there's going to be a little bit of gas left in there. That's, of course, to be expected. And what we're going to do about that here is in just a little bit, after I change the oil, I want to run this generator so I get all of the fuel out of the carburetor and all the lines. We're going to just run the generator till it dies at this point. I got all the gas I could possibly get out of that gas tank. So let's check the spark plug now. We're going to change the oil. All right, so our spark plug is going to be located right here. It's actually nicely labeled, so we just need to, of course, pop off this top cover piece here to get to the spark plug. Not too hard to do, just 4 screws here. There we go, and that allows us to get right to our spark plug, which, as you can see, our spark plug is right here. We're just going to need to, of course, pull off that spark plug boot. All right, there we go. We got the spark plug boot off. Now we can get a socket in there and get that spark plug taken out. Looks like we are going to be a 13/16 spark plug socket here. Of course, make sure you have a socket and extension, or a ratchet and extension as well, too. Makes this a lot easier to get out, of course. There we go. Just broke that loose, and I can pull the rest of that out by hand. All right, and here is our spark plug here. I don't recognize the brand on this one, but overall that spark plug looks to be in pretty good condition there. I don't see any, like burn spots on anything, any too much wear. Looks great to me. That's definitely a spark plug that is in pretty good shape there. I'm gonna put this thing back in then. Set your wrench to the opposite side there, and we're just going to snug that back down. Don't go too tight and break the threads on here. We're just going to snug it back down to about how good it was before. Right about there. And make sure you snap back on that spark plug boot as well, too. You just push back on. No big deal at all. We're going to put this cover back on. Spark plug checked, looks to be in good condition. Now we're going to change the oil. So on this generator, the oil is going to be on this side. It's all the same side you add the oil to. Makes that really convenient. Just 2 screws here on this side. We can pop this side panel off. And here's also your air box as well, too. Even though this is only the first time I ran this generator, I'm still just going to check this out. We get a little bit of debris in there, but nothing really too much to be concerned about. So, of course, we can just pop that back on. But if yours is getting dirty, you do want to take that filter out. If yours is reusable, you can clean that or just buy a new one there. And depending on how your generator is orientated, mine has a drain plug right here. I can access with a ratchet through this hole. On the bottom, there's the exact same little cap here. I'm going to unplug that, and then the oil will actually drain straight down. So you can see I'm doing this kind of off of a table here. I found this to be the easiest way to do this. So after I get that bolt undone, there's a little funnel in here that drains it out a hole. Going to go right into my oil pan. I can take that oil pan and of course put that used oil into a jug and take that to pretty much any auto parts store and they will recycle that for you. About 21 ounces, I think it says in here. So not too bad. And of course, I've got 1 quart of brand new Pennzoil 5W30. Just picked up at Harbor Freight today. That's exactly what I need to, of course, change the oil on this generator. So my generator just uses a 10mm bolt here, and I don't even need a extension here, as it with a deep socket I can get on there no problem. So let's get this bolt undone and get that oil changed. There we go, not too tight. And I like to hook this up to a little impact here just to pull that bolt out. Makes it just a tiny bit easier. Now, this generator did say to change the oil every 10 or so hours, especially the first time. Unfortunately, I didn't have that as an option. I didn't have power, so I ran this thing for about 76 hours or so without power and had to do it, unfortunately. Shouldn't really affect it too much. The oil is not terrible. It's got a little bit of just a little bit of, haziness, dark to it, but overall it looks pretty good for what it is. Not like, totally black like a lot of motor oils will be. Now, how long do you like this to drain for? I like to let it drain until I'm not getting a steady stream out of there. Once we start getting a little bit of dripping, then I say, put the bolt back on there. And of course, we'll get this oil topped up here in just a second. All right, there we go. We're starting to get a drip, or that stream is not as solid flowing anymore. So now I'm gonna put that screw back on in. Now, do not use any type of impact to tighten that screw. Always do that by hand. You don't want to strip or damage that drain bolt in any way. So I'm just going to put a ratchet back on here, make sure I'm in the forward setting here, and just give it a nice bit of a snug back on. Just like that. That is all we need to make sure that we're not leaking any oil. All right, so here's our dipstick for the oil. Goes right in here. Of course, where this oil is going to be, you're definitely going to want a funnel to put it in there. You're going to make a big mess. You try to put it with anything but a funnel. And on the side of this oil, we actually see that here is our ounces. So we just need about 20 fluid ounces there. So we're going to come down to, where are we at here? 28 in there. So we just need to come down a little bit to 20 ounces. No big deal. All right, there we go. Topped on up nicely to about 20 ounces according to the bottle. I'm right about there. And we're looking nice and full on the oil. And of course, remember to consult your manual on what type of oil you should use. Mine is pretty much recommending a 10W30 for the majority of circumstances here, but I can use a 5W30, and that's what I'm going to use as a full synthetic. That's probably the easiest I can find around me is a 5W30 full synthetic, and I got a pretty good deal on it today at Harbor Freight as well too. So I'm going to show you the maintenance schedule here, and this tells you exactly what to do here. Of course, engine oil replacement, I unfortunately did not get that within 10 hours, but after that it says to do every 6 months or 100 hours there. So what is that? Just over 4 days of continuous use. Air filter, you're going to make sure that you inspect it and, of course, clean it every 50 hours. And spark extinguisher, idle speed, valve clearance, all that stuff to be checked pretty much yearly there as well, too. But what we're most concerned about right now is, of course, storage. So we want to make sure the generator is cool before we store it. We want to make sure that we clean it. We want to drain all the fuel from the tank. We just did. Fuel hose and carburetor, we're going to do that by just running the generator until all the fuel runs out. And of course, we want to then turn off the fuel supply at the fuel valve. We just changed the oil. I want to change the oil first before I run this thing to no gas. And of course, we want to make sure we reattach the spark plug and check the spark plug to make sure. We also can remove the spark plug and pour about 15 milliliters of oil into the cylinder. Then crank the engine slowly to distribute the oil and lubricate that cylinder. Depending on how long you're going to store that, I'm not necessarily going to do that. I'm going to use this generator here in probably another month or so, so I don't necessarily need to do that. And of course, we want to store the unit in a clean and dry area out of direct sunlight. So let's get this thing fired up outside and just let that gas burn out of there. And then at the end of that, we're just going to turn the fuel valve off to make sure that we have nothing else getting into the cylinders there. All right, then make sure I close these two valves here so I'm not getting any more oil dripping down. Might need a couple of shop towels too. Got a little oil on my hands there, but we're going to then put this panel back on. Only 2 screws here. And remember, of course, changing fluids is cheaper than changing parts. So always make sure you change the oil as often as you possibly can. Now on my generator, super easy right here is going to be my choke run, and then my fuel and engine off are here. So I can pretty much just change it to fuel off there once I finish running it. So we're going to get this generator basically running, and of course outside, not in a garage, not anywhere near a dwelling. We're going to this thing outside running until it is all the fuel is out. Then all we're going to do is set it to the fuel switch off, and we are good to go for storing this thing. A couple of things you can do if you want to store the generator for more longer term usage. Of course, putting a little bit of oil in that cylinder as it recommends, as well as you can even use some fuel stabilizer to pour that through to make sure that gets into the carburetor and things like that, so that the oil doesn't, or the gas doesn't gum up anything else inside the engine. If you got any other suggestions, guys, let me know. Open to hear them. Would love to hear what other good tips you guys got for storing a generator. But this is always what I've done. Always worked pretty well. And of course, things like sea foam, you can always use that if you've had a generator sitting for quite a while. Run some of sea foam through it, and of course, you'll be good to go as well too. But that's about it. It's really not complicated, but make sure you spend the time and do it, because when you need the generator, you need the generator. You can't be going to find oil for it. You can't be having a gummed up carburetor. You want to make sure it's ready to roll right away. So follow these couple simple steps, guys, and your generator will be always ready to roll. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope this helps, and take care.